Hi everybody. So, you can see I've got some chairs set up and I've got my band, got this, and I've got my yoga ball. So I've got this is not actually a yoga mat, this is a little more cushion. It's a Pilates mat, I think. I'm not sure. I don't know. I get most of my stuff at Goodwill. So, that means I don't care about name brands so much. I mean, yes, there are some things that are better than others, but if you can't afford it, then something is better than nothing if you've got excuses that involve that. And when I say excuses, I mean the mental ones, the ones we tell ourselves. I can't afford the Pendleton, so I can't do it. Well, that's not the only type of indoor bike, right? So that's kind of where I'm gonna go with a lot of my stuff. Everything I have is from yard sales or Goodwill or Facebook Marketplace. So if you see something that I have that's equipment, you should know that it's all stuff that I've gotten from there. But the exercises that are the basics, the very first ones, that's what today is about. This is for the people who haven't exercised before. You're new to exercise, you are new to fitness, you aren't exactly in the best shape, and I don't necessarily mean that you're overweight, but if your body's not used to moving, you can be super, super thin and your body's not used to moving and you're out of shape, okay? So I don't mean that. I literally mean your ability to function. If your body's not used to that, this seems hard, especially when you watch me at the higher levels, and I totally get that. And like I said, someday you're going to see me come out here and just be playing at a lower level because I know that I can't do stuff because I'm so broke that day. But the basic exercises that start the game, the squat, the knee to chest, the front press, which I don't really have much of a exercise for to help you, just something that you can do to pay attention to yourself. I sort of do, but it's a little. I'll show you on that. It's not so much an exercise for the front press, but so much that you can see, you can figure out where your weaknesses and unevennesses and things that you need to work on to be able to have shoulder mobility, and it'll help with shoulder mobility. And then the chair pose. All of those things are modifiable based on what your issues are. Now, I'm going to suggest for everybody, if you haven't been squatting or been paying attention to your squat form, where your knees go and things like that, and I don't just mean the forward, I mean whether or not you're wobbling like this when you do your squats, I suggest everybody use this. Not because it's going to make your workout that much more intense. It actually, you're not getting it's not about getting one that's super hard to stretch. You're actually more concerned about just being able to have some resistance against your legs so that you are properly engaging those parts of your legs that we kind of, if we're not paying attention, we don't. Sometimes we see a lot of people, and that's one of the things that actually why people end up using, I guess some people call them booty bands, and I actually got into an argument with somebody who unfriended me because I was trying to explain that there's a use for this for stabilizing muscle strengthening. that we don't pay attention to these things, and you can strengthen the muscles that we don't think about while you're doing an exercise that you already do. And it will improve some of your gains, not necessarily in bulk, but in your functionality, in your just ability to carry yourself and be the best, in the best shape. Okay? And to me, that's what the gains are about. The gains are not necessarily, I mean, if the gains for you are about losing weight, then that's your gains. If the gains for you are about gaining weight, that's your gains. If your gains are about gaining strength and muscles, that's your gains. But everybody, no matter who it is, whatever your main objective is, if your gains are strength and mobility in just basic functionality, in your older years, you're going to be better off. The sooner we start doing exercise and the more we stick with it, the more we can move when we're older. And it doesn't even have to be exercise. I mean, just being physical. So if you have a sit-down job, you've got to do something to push that. If you have a job where you're moving, that's great. You should probably, you're getting a lot of your exercise in. You should focus on stabilizer movements so that you don't accidentally hurt something. It always helps to get strength by increasing your large muscles and things like that. But really, if you're doing something where you're lifting boxes all day long, and yeah, you're getting your workout. You don't need to go to the gym for more muscle gains unless you're finding out that you can't do your job without hurting too much. But watch that hurt. Seriously, do these stabilizer exercises. Do things that strengthen the little parts that keep you from getting hurt because you're not paying attention. And that's what these are. You're not going to get big. They're not going to make you swole, but they're going to strengthen the things that you need. So I always encourage people to use this, especially if they don't know how to do squats properly or haven't done them in a while. This will just train you so you're not developing the bad habit as you start. If you already have bad habits, if any of this sounds familiar, you might want to put a band on when you're doing some of your exercises. So, thoughts are things to keep in mind. So, since we're on the ground, I am going to start with the knee to chest. There is something else that you can do to help strengthen those core muscles, and you're gonna be cheating the system a little bit when you convince it that you're laying down. Because what you're gonna do, let me get back here. So what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna put your first leg down like this, right? And when it and what you want to do, oh, I forgot, you guys can't see my lower back. No, I am not stripping. This is so you guys can see what's happening here. Okay, so do you guys see the difference there versus there? Okay, what you want to do is some level of, you're pushing down, and I'm your inside skeleton. If you're bigger than me, you've got mass there, but you still have your body, you're arching. So it's about pushing as best you can. Engaging the muscles is what we're doing. It's not about how much can you make your spine touch the floor, but that's what your goal is. Okay? So you start like this, and when it starts the game, you put your foot up. Okay? So if you get set with the other one, which I was not quite, if you get set, okay, and then you engage your core, and I'm going to, here, I'll put this arm up so you guys can see what I'm doing with my core. I'm going to do this so that I'm not changing the position of my shoulders too much. Okay, so see what I'm doing with my core? I push it down, and then when it's time to bring the ball in, so I'm going to start with the ball here, I'm going to do this. And I did not do anything with my legs so much as I I engage right here, and then I bring my knees up, but this is the muscles that are engaging. I'm not using any of the muscles like stressed, the way that, not stressed, but flexed, that's the word, the way that I am engaging all of my core. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing my back down. Remember, I'm keeping my back engaged the whole time. Okay? Because that actually engages all of this. So I'm trying to keep my back down. And then I'm pulling my legs in. And what did it have us start at? 2? Can you do 2 of these? Okay, so that's, you can do 2 of those. Doesn't matter what your ailment is, and it will help everybody. You have back problems, you have problems standing up straight, you know, I mean, just trust me, it strengthens your core, and it's good to practice keeping your back straight, okay? That's a great way to learn some of your body too, because you can feel the mat. And if you want to put your hand down there and occasionally make sure that you're or put your hand on your stomach or put your hand here and see whether or not you can feel the difference of your hand moving with your body. Doesn't matter your size, you're going to feel a difference when your core shifts. Everybody's will. How much it shifts will be based on how much you can engage. Oh, by the way, kitty cats, meow, sock gang. Oh, I gotta remember those hashtags. Okay, so, second thing we're gonna talk about is those squats, right? Okay, so we're gonna put our band on. You're like, oh no. I don't even know how to get up off the floor. Well, you can roll over like this, okay? And even with the band on, there's room to be able to put your foot underneath you. You don't want to keep your knee up here too much. So as much as you can, put your knee out, or put your knee back, and that'll help you be able to get up if you have a band on. If not, if you can't do that, you can always put it on while you're sitting in this chair. But I just happen to be on the floor, so we're going to talk about it that way. Okay? So I'm going to show you guys one way, and then I got to move the chairs so you guys can see the other direction. So remember, this is to help keep my knees engaged. Okay? And if you see me going with my feet completely parallel, it's because I'm working on engaging all of these muscles and the ankle stabilizer muscles because they've been, some of them have been deactivated and unloaded for so long that they don't know how to properly engage even when I'm like this. So I'm working on, like, my ankles do not engage. So we're working on strengthening those things. So that's something I'm working with a physical therapist with. If you stumble a lot, you may want to see if there's somebody that you can talk to. Okay, so this chair, you're going to see how far away it is from me in a moment. Okay, make sure my distance is correct. Okay, right there. Okay. So, this is just to stabilize me. This is, the more you use this, what they found out, the more you use things to hold your stability, even if it's just tapping, the less of your core you engage. But if you know that it's there, if you need it, and keep your hand over it, you will you will engage more of your core, and in the end have less need for the balance, or not the balance, the thing to hold on to if you lose your balance. Okay, so you're gonna engage, and you're gonna see this from the other side, but you're going to just sit down. When you're holding on to the Rincon, you can do it with one hand and have this like this if you need it. Okay, it is possible. Or you can put it in your other hand, depending on what you need. So what you guys can't see is that the chair is underneath my butt. If I was to fall, oh, I should be up against the wall. Sorry, I forgot I moved it because the cat's going through. Well, me trying to get around the cats earlier. If you fall, okay, so I'm going to go down. And again, when you're on level 1, they're not expecting you to go past about here, okay? And it's just about learning your form with your lower body and your legs and engaging your core, okay? So they just want you to go here. If you want to hit really hard, maybe a little bit deeper like this, and it's that's about learning the thrust out move, where you start to sit down. So think of, when you go to sit down, you have the part where you start lowering yourself, and then the part where you reach back for the chair. And I'll show you that from the side. But we automatically do this. We just don't think about it, and sometimes we end up with bad form and engaging it, and we just plop down. So we're going to practice this. And this will help you when you're doing a lot of stuff, right? Again, practical movements. So you engage this, and you sit down and go, oh my God, I'm going to fall. It's right there, okay? There's plenty of room. Now, you don't want it so far back that you're automatically sitting, you know, and I'm going to show you that now. So I'm going to move this here. And this is here for demonstration purposes, okay? But I don't actually need the chair. So you're going to see where I'm sitting, and make sure that this is where I want. Okay. So if it catches you anywhere where the head of your femur and the bottom of your buttocks has gotten on the chair, right? So if you stand up and you go, okay, right here's the bottom of my butt where it's supposed to be. That means it's the bottom of my femur head, or the top of my femur. It's at the bottom of the femur head and going on to the long stem of the femur, right? So that means that the big part of the bone is going to be sitting on the chair. So you can feel secure because you know that the big part of the bones are primarily on the chair. That means that your core is also over the chair because it's where your spine is located, right? So even if you're squatting, if you fall, your center of gravity is automatically going to push you to that spot where the joint with the most chunk is. And that's right here, okay? So make sure that we can sit right there. So you can find your seat, you can get that spot, you find it and you sit down, you scoot forward. You go, okay, I can feel when I sit down on that seat. But okay, right here's the spot where I feel safe, but I'm right here on the edge. So you see how far away? I mean, I'm really not close to here. If I actually fall, then my balance is going to push me backwards. So this is how far I am. I'm not going to move my feet. But if I fall, balance, I mean, that's just gravity, right? So that gives me that whole seat to be able to move. And that means that you're not going to be so close to the seat that you're going to hit the seat and have a further fall trying to get onto the seat, okay? So you get your edge point here, right? And then you stand up and you've got your chair here to help you if you need it, okay? So make sure that it's good You don't want it right back here like I had it. You want it where it's going to be a good spot right here, right where you want your arm's length to be. A little further back. There we go. You've got that whole thing, so you can slide as you go, as you sit backwards if you need to. Okay, but you really shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have to rely on it too much. Once you get the feel for knowing that your chair is there and you're stable. But it's always good if you have any type of injury or haven't exercised in a long time. It's always good to have something to keep your balance, right? So, I'm gonna sit here, watch that. Watch me. See this back engagement? See, it goes from this, and you can actually see this line on my, see, now it's straight. There, now I'm engaged, okay? Now I'm pulling my legs are getting separated because I'm pulling against the band to make sure that everything's there. And you can see I'm already starting to bend my knees just a little bit while I'm engaging, right? That's what we talk about when you want to engage your core here and you're standing. One way to do it is slightly bend the knees because it'll automatically engage all of this, right? So, not like this, okay? But I'm not bent over either. I've got my shoulders back. Now, if you can't get your shoulders back all the way, we'll talk about that. But I've got my shoulders back. I've got everything engaged, okay? Now, I'm going to sit just a little bit, keeping as much of me engaged as I can and trying not to go too far, okay? Because you guys won't need to go too far. The 2 hit, 3 hit, I don't even know how many at what levels. You see that? I just went to bad form here. So if you can hold it here, okay? So keeping, and it's about keeping those shoulders without. Okay, so so you don't want to have any of this bad posture where you're rounding your back like this or scrunching down, okay? Keeping your shoulders back, but you're keeping that hip and that waist engaged, okay? So if you need to lean forward, that's fine. Everybody thinks they have to be up like this, and that's not true, because look at my back. Look what it does. That's not what we're trying to do. So we're keeping our body bent, and notice how as my knees go forward, and I never want to go forward like that, because that's not what we're trying to do, but notice as my knees go forward, my body looks the same parallel. If you drew a line, I hit the button. I thought I hit the button. There it is. Okay, so if you watch where my 5 minutes outside, oh, it's just now. If you watch where my body is and where my shins, my lower legs are, you could draw a line, okay? I'm not trying to stay straight up. I'm trying to kind of make sure that when I do this last bit of engagement, I have, and that's if you're capable of going all the way down, okay? I'm trying to make sure that I have, I end up like this, that as the further down you get, you do end up sometimes a little more upright, okay? But this whole time, I'm bent. I'm just making sure that my shoulders are back, my back is straight, and I'm doing this, okay? The chair pose is the same thing, So you're going to just be doing this just with the chair, making sure that you're just slightly squatted and holding it. So it's the same exercise. Instead of going up and down, you're just using your arms. Now, the shoulder thing is a little harder to show, and I'm hoping you can see this, okay? So, if you can go, now I forgot what it is, up a door frame, pushing on it, and I'm hoping you can see my shoulder engagement while I'm doing that. Okay. And then arms facing this way. Okay. You can see that my left shoulder still has trouble engaging equally. So I need to go back to doing these because it's a basics. So that's a way to engage, get your shoulders so you know what the engagement should feel like when you're doing this. Okay? So those are the basics of this exercise stuff to get you through the first couple of levels. Because if you're starting out at level 1, I don't know how long it's going to take you to get to things. I really honestly don't. I don't know when you'll get more exercises. If somebody lets me know, if you start out at level 1 because you need to, when do you get your next exercise? Let me know and I will do a tutorial on your next exercise. So, I will see everybody at 5. This was a short how-to for the basic exercises for Ring Fit Adventure. In case you haven't exercised in a really long time or have injuries or need help just working with your stability muscles and understanding how to do some of these exercises again. I had a little bit more time, so we got to go over some more things and some alternatives. I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a nice